but I'm saying that's what women are. That's the pushback that women are saying. Like, it doesn't matter what I do. I should still be treated with respect. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, of course. But I think it probably would be the same thing for women. I mean, for men. Like, that's almost like saying just because I have all gold teeth top and bottom with multiple chains and my pants sagging, don't you think I'm a thug? You know, and it's just like, well, we don't know. Or don't you think I'm out here on the street? So I think perception, implicit bias, all of that stuff, like, we automatically come with it. And it's just, that's just the reality of it. So it's carry the way that you want to be seen or carry the way that you want to be treated. But at the end of the day, your appearance can sometimes teach people how to treat you, or, you know, until they have a conversation with you, then they're going to, you know, that also teaches them how to treat you. But if a person judging a book by its cover, we already know, like, we learned that in like second grade.
And dare I say, in this space, when we are talking about social justice, right? In this current climate, when we're talking about social justice, and we're talking about protect Black women, and we're talking about trust Black women, and we're talking about locking up the race soldiers that murdered Breonna Taylor. And we're talking about Kamala Harris, who is the first ever she's the VP nominee for the Democratic Party. We'll get to Kamala, but is this the right song for this time in this moment? Because it's like Black men and women are trying to uplift, because of Sandra, we're trying to uplift the image of Black women, and stuff like that. And then we got a jam that's number one, talk about there's some hoes in this house. Huh?
How about the music that Black men are making? It goes both ways.
I don't like that argument. We talk about WAP right now.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're gonna talk about one, talk about all. Y'all
but guess what?
If that song wasn't as hype as it is, y'all really wouldn't be mad right now.
No. Do you think I dislike the video?
Listen.
Do you really think that I sat up there and said, this is disgusting. I can't believe this you really think I watched that video like that?
He was just like that. Look at that video. Look how close
I was like this. There was some chips. I didn't listen to that shit. I was not watching it like that. You think I was offended? No, I'm not offended.
But I'm saying that's what women are. That's the pushback that women are.
What's poppin'? Welcome to Soapboxx Podcast, y'all. I am so happy to see y'all today. How y'all feeling? How y'all doing? I'm feeling great. Today we are joined by my amazing co-host, because today I'm the host. We are joined by TJ Legacy Cole. Where you at? And Alan.
I'm here.
Yes, what's poppin'? And my boy Alan, homeless millionaire. What's goody?
What's happening?
What's happening?
So
how y'all feeling? Go ahead, TJ. Say your thing.
No, I'm good. I feel good. I'm away. I'm doing a little self-care retreat, a little getaway. But while I'm away, I appreciate you taking the lead and taking the taking the reins and the wheel, so to speak. So, and you look fabulous, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for the look on behalf of the Soapboxx Nation.
Yes, as do y'all. Alan, I see you with your hat. What team are you repping? It better be the Yankees, because I see that's a baseball cap. So send it around. What are we looking at?
Come on.
Okay, all right. Yes, that's
ain't nothing to it but to do it.
Yes.
Speaking of getting a little rest and relaxation, I feel like that's been like the theme of the Soapbox lately. Jesse was just on her trip not too long ago. We'd be remiss not to mention our other co-host who is not here right now. Shout out to Giuliani, who is also
Giovanni's on a world tour. She's on a world tour.
It looks like first off, it looks like I have to catch up. Second off, it definitely feels like that's been the theme as of lately. But kicking it back to you, Jesse, how are you feeling though? Before you try to deflect, how are you feeling today?
Oh, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling good. You know, being a mom, trying to do the best that I can. You know how that goes. You know, being a mom is ghetto, but I
Well,
love
you're
it.
doing it. Well, you're doing it, honey. You're doing it.
But how are y'all doing? How's everything? TJ, tell us a little bit about where you at and how's your trip going. Let us know.
The Fed's watching. But I am good. I'm somewhere where it is warm and I'm by the beach. And I was out there at the beach, you know, just enjoying myself. I actually got accused today of posting thirst traps, which is a first because I which is cool. So someone, but it was, you know, it's an old lady. She was like, "Oh, it's just self." Because I said, "Oh, you know, self-care." She was like, "It's just self-care. Have you posting thirst traps?" I was just like, only for the dehydrated, baby. Only for the dehydrated. You know what I mean?
So your DMs is popping. Your DMs is popping.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No. Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
Absolutely not.
How about you, Alan? Tell us a little bit how you feeling.
Oh man, I'm feeling good. I mean, tomorrow's Friday, so for me, you know, anytime I can get to a Friday, I'm blessed and glorified. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Amen.
That's what we have to look forward to. And I've just been kicking it, man. I've just been enjoying this good weather. It's not blistering hot no more up here. You know, so I'm focused on this little diet plan and the workout routine, and I'm just getting all my chips in order. You know what I'm saying? I'm lining everything up to get to.
I love to hear it. That's what's popping, Alan. All right. I see you. Well, speaking of chips, all right, go ahead, TJ.
No, I was just saying for those who are new to the Soapbox, can you let them know where they can find us?
Oh yeah, for sure. So you guys can find us everywhere. Literally, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, right here. Hey, what's poppin'? We're on Stitchers, iHeartRadio, Spotify, all that good stuff.
Yes.
And Instagram. We all on Instagram.
Soapboxx Podcast with 2X. Soapboxx Podcast. Okay, go ahead, Jesse. Run the show. Do it.
Yes, let's get it. Let's start. So, like Alan was saying, he got his chips and stuff in a row. I wanted to just talk about a story up in New Hampshire. Now, just imagine, right? Just picture this, right? You a waiter, you a waitress, whatever. And TJ, why do you do this to me? Okay, so you're a waitress.
It's the dress.
So just imagine you're a waitress and you're doing your job. You know, it's just a typical day, whether you want to be at work, whether you don't want to be at work. But everybody knows that waiters, they work for tips, right? That's how they make most of their income, is based on what tips they get. So just imagine, you know, you're serving someone, they order some pickle chips, some beers, some chili cheese dogs, a shot of Patron, you know, whatever. Their bill comes up to $38. Okay. You give them their bill. All right, sir, have a good day. You come back and you look at the tip and it's $16,000.
$16,000?
16,000, 16000. Okay, right there, and I'll read that. Wow, a customer at the Stumble Inn restaurant in New Hampshire left a $16,000 tip on a $37 tab earlier this month. The owner, Mike Zarella, says, and this is where it gets a little The owner, Mike Zarella, says he plans to split the tip between all 12 staffers that worked that day. Now, don't get me wrong, I get it. Sharing is caring. That's cute, whatever. Yeah. But how do you guys feel if you service the table, right, yourself? Now, granted, it wasn't a huge table. It was one person, right? But how do you feel having to split that tip amongst everyone when it was just given to you? And TJ, you can go first. Go ahead.
You want me to go first? I used to work at a job like that. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the franchise Donato's Pizzeria. It's actually formed in Ohio, but it came down to Orlando. They used to do pool tips, right? And they, you know, everybody would pool their tips together, and you know, no matter how hard you worked, everybody would kind of get an even split. And back then, I was like 16, 17, whatever, and I said, "Fuck that." No. If I did the job and I'm doing the running around and doing the service, we're not splitting that tip. That went to me. And sometimes I would ask guests, like, "Oh, are you give it to me?" Like today, I went out. I asked the waitresses or the bartenders. I said, "Do y'all pool tips?" Right? And so I put an extra, balling. I put an extra $3 on that tip. You know what I mean? Make sure it's even so y'all can split it down the middle. But I'm not splitting, especially with that. Nah, I'm not splitting that tip. And I actually would probably get a lawyer to figure out what my rights are to make sure that I can get that tip. And then maybe I got to find another job, because that was, how much money was that again?
$16,000.
Yeah, $16,000. Yeah, I'm also reach out to them to make a, to get a statement and all stuff. Like, yeah, I'm getting all that $16,000.
Okay, so before I say what I got to say, Alan, how do you feel about that? You on mute, my brother.
It's Alan's first day on the show.
No. I ain't want to have y'all hear me yawning and burping and all that. So for me, it's really the principality is, it comes down to what is the general rule of the tipping. I mean, like TJ said, there's places, and there's a lot of places that do that when you have pooling tips. So if that is generally the rule for the restaurant, then, it would definitely hurt, because I've seen that, and I know it's not going to me, but, in a sense, you will be kind of used to it. If it's a situation where everybody keeps their own tip, and then the owner decided that day that we're just going to go into a pool system, then at that point, it's going to be me and somebody moving some furniture, because we're not changing the rules just because I came up. But that being said, I was also taught by a waiter a while ago to, if you are going to tip, if you have the ability to do tip in cash, because one, tax purposes. So everyone out there listening, if you can tip, make sure you tip cash. It's better for the waiter. But like I said, it all depends on what the general policy is in the establishment.
For sure. I definitely agree with that. I definitely would say, like you said, it depends on what the policy is. Like, if that's what you guys were doing from the beginning, where it was a pool tip and everybody was sharing it, then okay. But if you came up with that on the day of, then that's kind of sketch. And you're not about to get me for my $60,000. That's my $16,000, and I'm keeping it for myself. But at the same time, knowing that the type of person that I am, I'd like to share. So I would like to share, but to know that my $16,000 tip is going from $1,000 tip, you got me fucked up. But with that saying, what up, Soapboxx Nation? Shout out to y'all for tuning in. We love y'all. Thank you for continuing to watch us. And yes, let's get it. TJ, what we got next?
Listen, I don't know if y'all know about this story. There's a guy called Ronnie O'Neal, right? And so Ronnie O'Neal actually was indicted because he was accused of killing the mother of his child, the mother of his child, and his disabled child, and stabbing his son as well. Well, with Ronnie, it is a horrible story. However, Ronnie decided, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and represent myself in a double murder. Now, of course, it's not a good idea to represent yourself, in any sort of, legal situation. I'm not a lawyer, but I like to play one on the soapbox. But like, it's not good enough for you to play a lawyer. But Ronnie decided to represent himself, and I just want to hear some of Ronnie's commentary when he was when he was in the courtroom.
By the time it's all said and done, you will see who is the mass murderers. In Tampa Bay.
I'm not sure why it went out like that, but that was Ronnie. As you can see, he looks like he's giving a top-notch defense. This is what happens when people watch all seasons of Law and Order SVU. They feel like they can go into the courtroom and do it. But this clip right here is actually my favorite of Ronnie, because this is when Ronnie was really bringing it home during his closing argument.
If you think I'm here to play around with y'all, God damn it, I'm not.
All right, Mr. O'Neal, please.
I know it's not funny because it's a murder. It's a murder trial, a double murder trial, and unfortunately, his son that he stabbed actually had to testify. But if y'all didn't know what he said, I'm gonna play it again for y'all because it makes me laugh. But this.
If you think I'm here to play around with y'all, God damn it, I'm not.
All right, Mr. O'Neal, please.
I don't know. Listen, I haven't gone to law school. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just letting y'all know, yelling at the jury to say you ain't playing with their ass is not a good way to get an acquittal. I'm just saying I've never taken the law. Well, I pre-law in my undergrad, but I don't think it's a good idea. But yes, he did end up getting convicted, and so he's waiting for sentencing. They're about to throw his ass under the jail, but that was in Tampa, Florida, Riverview, Tampa, Florida.
That's what a liar looks like, okay? That's how you know somebody is lying. When they that passionate, when they're trying to plead their case, ladies, listen up. If your man's cheating on you and he's trying to plead his case, okay? When they talk so passionately like that, that's how you know that they lying, okay? With that being said, Ronnie, you are a scumbag. You are a scumbag. All right, go ahead, PJ, do your thing.
Wait a minute, Jesse, how did you turn this double murder into niggas cheat and when they passionate about something?
Nah, it's not even about lying. It's about lying. It's about lying, and you can tell that he was lying. And and like you said, like there's nothing funny about the situation because honestly, like he
his delivery.
He deserves everything that's coming to him, honestly. But when it comes to lying, that's how you know when a nigga is lying. When he's so passionate like that.
So if I'm like, I ain't cheat with that bitch. I don't even know her ass, okay?
Yes, you a liar.
That's
you a liar. You a liar.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead, y'all.
All right, guys. So we're going to jump into celebrity selfie. Let's get it.
Oh, Mr. Producer. Look, we got to fire our producer. Celebrity selfie, let's get it.
Yeah, so speaking of representation, we're going to talk about Michael B. Jordan with his new rum and some commentary made by Nicki Minaj. TJ, what we got about that story?
Listen, so Michael B. Jordan, y'all know Michael B. Jordan, friend of the show. We talk about him frequently, whether it's about his girl or anything. But Michael B. Jordan apparently went and he's trying to start a brand. I believe it's for alcohol or a tequila brand or something along those lines. I apologize for not knowing exactly what, but he's actually trying to get something trademarked. But he wants to call it Juve, right? And Juve is like a, Trinidadian custom, early morning carnival type of thing. It's a very well-known word. So he was trying to trademark the name Juve, and he actually got some backlash from Nicki Minaj who is Trinidadian, for trying to trademark this. And so subsequently, because of all of the backlash, and he got the slander on Twitter, specifically from Caribbean Americans, Trinidadians, or whatever, they're saying, look, you're trying to do this business. You're trying to basically, he was accused of cultural appropriation as a Black American trying to steal culture from Caribbean Americans. And so subsequently, Michael B. Jordan, succeeded and was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and try to get another name. So I'm going to throw it out to y'all. Do y'all think he was wrong, or do you think it's good business? Because we do see a lot of because I don't think the trademark laws are the same in Caribbean countries. So I don't know, like the song "Who Let the Dogs Out" actually was like those guys didn't the originators of that song. I don't think they got paid because they don't have like trademark infringement laws overseas. So I don't think it works the same over in the States, but yeah. So do you think a celebrity's? I would just say like this in business. You should do a lot more market research and know about the history of the name that you're trying to call your business before you just jump out there. See, and this is why I wanted to play this clip. The reason Michael B. Jordan did not know what he was going to do is because he was distracted. And distracted by what, you dare you say? Every Michael B. Jordan story, I will play that clip. Every Michael B. Jordan until they are no more. I will always play that clip. So maybe that's why he didn't do his market research. What do you think, Alan?
I don't think this has anything to do with necessarily market research. It sounds like he was very well informed and what the word meant, like, just literally, and, what it meant to other people. I think that he probably wasn't expecting the backlash, because essentially the backlash was only due to the fact that he's not Trinidadian or West Indian. It wasn't because he wasn't informed of what exactly he was doing. He knew exactly why he wanted to name that rum that, and which is why he proceeded with it. Yeah, it's a rum. He knew exactly what the word meant. He understood what it meant to the culture, and that's why he wanted to name his rum that. I think I think the only mark missed in that is, I guess, the fact that, maybe no one else had tried to capitalize off of it prior to. I was shocked that he was able, because it wasn't a try. He got the trademark for the word. So I think for me, that was a little bit more surprising than anything else. I try not to speak too elaborately on things like that, because I am not the person affected. I'm not Trinidadian, I'm not West Indian, so I think my opinion is it would be a little bit diluted. I can definitely understand from his standpoint, though, saying that, this is a culture that I enjoy, I appreciate. The word and its meaning is something that's wonderful, is beautiful. I would like to incorporate that to be the face of my brand. It is kind of, it's a lesson that he had to learn. I can't say if it's a right or if it's a wrong lesson, but if the people who have origin to that word say that, it's a no-go, then that's the people that you got to listen to. So, I would be more interested in hearing you guys' opinion as being from islands rich in culture, and how do you feel about, do you think that it's quote unquote cultural appropriation?
What do you think, Jesse?
I mean, I guess I wouldn't really say like his intentions were not like he was doing it with bad intentions. I feel like he should have definitely educated himself a little bit more before he did it. He should have maybe reached out to more people to get their opinions. Or doesn't he have a publisher? Like, your publisher should have been like more aware of that as well and guided you through that. But again, like, I don't think that he did it like with any malintent. And he did issue an apology, and he is looking to rectify the situation. So like, I don't put anything. I don't. It's okay, Michael B. Jordan. I forgive you personally.
You know what? I was just about to say that. I was like, is anybody shocked that Jesse is so forgiving of Michael B. Jordan? If Michael B. Jordan said it passionately, with Jesse's rule, if you say things passionately, that means you're lying. If Michael B. Jordan was like, I didn't mean to steal it, I didn't mean to steal the word and trademark it, she would be like, you know what, Michael, I understand. It's okay. Speaking of branding, I am noticing a trend on this episode that every time Alan is on the screen and he's talking, the number of viewers keep increasing. So I'm gonna probably shut up a little bit more and just let the sex symbol that we have as homeless millionaire just keep rocking with it. And I'm gonna drink my alcohol.
Do your thing. But listen, let's switch gears a little bit and let's talk about the BeyHive and Trick Daddy. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the story, but Trick Daddy is in some hot water with the BeyHive. They are not feeling him whatsoever, because he made some statements saying that he don't really think that Beyonce can sing. Now, when you say something about the Queen Bee, the BeyHive gonna come after your ass. So that's exactly what they've been doing. They've been swarming his comments on Instagram. They even went on Google and they started leaving comments under his restaurant, leaving really bad reviews, brought his rating down to a 2.2. From my understanding, before that, prior to that, he had a really good rating. People was really feeling the restaurant. They said that the food there is really good. But y'all know that the BeyHives don't play. Now, my opinion is Beyonce could sing. I don't know what he's talking about. He said she could sing, but she can't sing. I'm sorry, but she can sing. Let's not do that. Let's not hate on the queen. She definitely got vocals. She's definitely a good entertainer. We saw her in that one movie. What was the name of that movie? Was it Spotlight? No, it's not Spotlight.
Dreamgirls.
I'm thinking about Jennifer Hudson. And don't get me wrong, Jennifer Hudson, she can sing. But Beyonce, she definitely did her thing. And I feel like a lot of people hate on Beyonce, and I really don't understand why. But what is your opinion on this? You guys feel like Trick Daddy, he's making some sense, or do you think he's speaking some nonsense?
I'm gonna defer to the hip hop aficionado first.
Let's get it, Alan.
And I'm gonna give him a solo shot so we get all the likes. Go ahead, Alan.
I mean, I do think it's important to point out you said hip hop aficionado, so R&B isn't necessarily my bag. I don't know why he went on this rant. I do, in some of the audio I heard, I know he mentioned like his godmother was training her or something like that. But I think people, specifically to be honest, Black people are very weird on the scale of who they think can sing or not. Like, I don't think Black people have admitted anyone can sing within the last 20 years, to be honest. Anyone that I thought was a good singer, everyone's like, nah, they're horrible. I'm like, what do y'all want from people? So, and I do think that is a product of a lot of us coming up in the church, and a lot of those vocals not necessarily being reminiscent of that. I do think that we're really hard as a community on people when it comes to singing. I think Beyonce can sing. I've heard some acapellas that sound heavenly. She does wonderful runs.
Yes.
I think she has a wonderful, wonderful voice. I don't know what Trick Daddy is hearing, but like I said, it's that older generation. If you're not singing like you and your grandma choir all of the time, then a lot of times you don't necessarily get that respect for whatever reason. So that's the only reason I could think of.
Nah, he hating on her. I'm sorry. Go ahead, CJ. Do your thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have what Trick Daddy said. I literally said on the Soapboxx podcast before. Beyonce is a good singer. Look at Alan was like, look, I don't want to be a part of this. I am out. Look, Beyonce. Listen, I'll do a solo camera. I don't care. Let me get all the bullets. I'll get all the hate. Listen, Beyonce is an above average. Beyonce is above average in multiple categories, whether it's singing, performing. She is above average. But when we talk about the greatest singers of all time, like and whether or not she like Beyonce can sing. Let's not make that. But as far as like, she is the best singer. They are vocally. I'm talking vocally. Beyonce is one of the top 5 greatest performers of all time. Not female performers, but greatest performers of all time. She can sing. Right? She can sing, she can perform, she cannot act. But she can sing, she can perform. Now, as far as the whether or not she can sing, there are other singers out there. Jasmine Sullivan, Fantasia, Jennifer Hudson. Beyonce is not on. Would I say? No, not Keisha Cole. Who's the other one? I would say, but y'all know what I'm talking about. There are other people who are in the music industry, who are women, who vocally have better vocal performances than Beyonce. What makes Beyonce great, not good, what makes Beyonce great is because Beyonce is above average in a multitude of categories when it comes to being an entertainer and an artist. That's what gives her an all-time great status. But as far as being a singer, it's okay. Like, it's like LeBron. It's okay to say LeBron is not the best passer in the league, or he's not the best person who steals the ball. But overall, LeBron James is one of the best players overall in the league. KD, one of the best players overall. Now, is he the best shooter? No. Steph Curry's the best shooter. But can LeBron score? Absolutely. And he's still great. So we need to get off of this whole, bowing at the altar of Beyonce just to bow at the altar of the Beyonce. The whole BeyHive thing is very weird to me. Like, the people who do like classes and shit and courses on Beyonce and like kneel to the altar as if she can do no wrong and everything she puts out is just a banger. That's a lie. It's a false narrative. I get we want to uplift Black women. I get and understand what Beyonce represents. But Beyonce is above average in a multitude of categories. But as far as vocally, she is not the best vocalist as a female artist in R&B today. She's just not. So
I have a question.
Don't do that.
I have
Go
a
ahead.
question though. But in general, why do people do that? If I'm
Shout out to
saying
Soapboxx Nation. Soapboxx Nation is agreeing with me, and they're coming out in droves. Thank you very much.
We're not gonna do that.
but in totality, why do people do that? If I say person A does such and such good, why is the rebut okay, but they're not the best ever? Like, what does that have to do with anything? I think anytime those conversations happen, it's a purposeful way to diminish someone's talent, because the conversation is never Beyonce is the best singer. It's not LeBron is the best shooter. It is, can Beyonce sing? Can LeBron do X?
If we are
to me is yes, they can do it. Yes, they are good at this. And then to me, that should really be not necessarily the end of the conversation. It's an acknowledgement. But if every rebuttal of acknowledgement is whataboutism and who's better, I think that's an issue, and not necessarily with Beyonce. I feel like we tend to do that in media. You know, I'm sure I'm a culprit of that in general, but I don't like how every point of this person can do this is met with okay, but they're not the best ever. There's always going to be somebody better than someone else. There's always going to be someone richer. Always going to be someone taller. Always going to be someone better than whomever at whatever. Like, so why is that always the conversation? Why are we always in this carousel?
Let me ask.
I agree 100%.
Just say, of course. Just say. Can I ask a question? Go
ahead. Do your thing.
Do you? Let me just put it out there. Do y'all agree? And Soapboxx Nation, please chime in. Leave your comments as well. Do you believe there's a difference between being someone who is a good singer or someone who can sing? Right? Like we know. Let's act like we don't know that there's a difference. Like a girl in high school, we got plenty of people who are even on American Idol. We're like, yo, she can sing. Beyonce, of course. If the question is, can Beyonce sing? Of course, unequivocally, the answer is yes. Beyonce.
It's not like a big hater, TJ, because she can sing. I'm sorry, but she can sing. Because if you look at other people, and you know my girl Cardi B, like that's my baby girl. Y'all know how much I love me some Cardi B. She got vocals, right? She sings on some of her songs. She could sing.
Wait. You said Cardi B has vocals?
But can she sing?
Yes.
No. Can she carry a tune? Yes. But Beyonce, she can sing. She got it. And I love what Alan said, because I feel like a lot of times y'all try to compare and contrast. Like, no, like give her credit. She's good. She can sing. Like, why you guys being a hater? Do what she can do. If you're gonna criticize her, then be on her level at least. Because if you're not on her level, and you can't do what she can do as far as vocals, then can you really talk about her voice? I'm sorry, but no, we're not gonna diminish her voice like that, because Beyonce got vocals on her. She got vocals.
No one is diminishing. Look, for instance, there are people that would look and be like, yo, TJ has a podcast. TJ's good at podcasting, right? Or people may say I'm good or I suck at podcasting. But Charlamagne the God and Joe Budden, yo, they are great hosts. If you put something out there, whether it's music or entertainment, you're putting that out there for public consumption. And when you put things out there for public consumption, people are allowed to have a diverse opinion about what you do. Whether you're on basketball, this is why they advertise basketball games on TV. They want people to chime in and have their opinion. That's why they have Sports Center. This is why we have award shows. We literally have award shows because we're trying to award who is the very best. Now, I don't think Trick Daddy's conversation was about who the very best is. So if he's making a blanketed statement to say Beyonce can't sing, of course that sounds like a hater, because there's no basis to stand on, right? Of course she can sing.
But that's where we started.
Okay,
that's literally where we started.
I'm saying that. But what I am saying, right, there is a difference if he tried to say she can't sing, right? We all know saying and sing is different when it comes to the verbiage of the definition of what we're talking about, whether or not he was trying to articulate himself in a good way at all, right? So when we talk about Beyonce being a a vocalist. There are about 5 or so women who I could put vocally that are better than Beyonce.
That's fine.
But to say nobody should have the right to criticize somebody or to criticize their craft, because that's what it is, a craft. I just don't agree with that, and I think that's very like.
But nobody's saying that though. Nobody's saying
Jess just said that.
Nobody's saying that. What we're saying
wait,
is,
Jess just said
even
what?
if there are 5 other people,
you said we shouldn't be able to. Hold on, Alan. Jess just said that if you are not on her level, you should not be able to criticize. Just because I can't ball like LeBron James, don't mean I shouldn't be able to critique how LeBron James played in the game.
Yeah, but you can't be a hater either. You cannot be a hater. Like you need to give credit where credit is due. If she can sing, she can sing. Say that. You telling somebody saying that Beyonce can't sing, you are hating. I'm sorry. She got vocals. And if you can prove me wrong, then okay. Prove me wrong that Beyonce can't sing. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, CJ. Because in my opinion, she can blow it down. She can blow it down.
The only way you can prove that she can't sing is by comparing her to her contemporaries. That's the only way to say.
Alan, go ahead, Alan. Say your thing, Alan. Alan, we on the same page.
You can be bad at something without comparing it to anyone else. If somebody's jump shot is bad, I know it's bad by looking at it. I don't have to be like, he's not Steph Curry. No, he's 1 for 10. He's trash. I don't care what Steph Curry's doing. So no, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't always have to be comparison when it comes to the scale of good or bad.
But when we're talking
I understand setting a bar, that makes sense. But when we're talking about good or bad, like you don't necessarily have to always compare.
So if you know, but when we're talking about Beyonce, we're talking about people in her industry. When we're talking about the entertainment industry,
we're talking about Beyonce. You're talking about everybody else. Trick Daddy said Beyonce can't sing. You said,
that's he's being a hater. But I was telling about my point of what I said on this podcast because I made certain criticism, not even criticism, a critique. A critique is not necessarily a big ass criticism.
And the thing is,
like you're denigrating. You're not, because you made the comment. Oh, why are we denigrating some? No, you're not denigrating somebody. That's why on podcasts they have reviews. That's why, like, you're not denigrating. So, but I will say this. Right, shifting from the Beyonce, whether she can sing or something, because it's a mute point. She obviously can sing, right? Let's be honest, the whole BeyHive thing, where you spend your day and you're just gonna troll and put bees under someone's comments, and then try to disestablish somebody's business because they had an adverse opinion to your favorite artist. That's ridiculous. That's come on, that's OD. That's OD, and it's weird. It's weird.
It's weird. It's weird for everybody. The Barbs, BeyHive, Future Hive, all the hives are pretty.
I guess
shout out. That's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, I guess that's a little petty, especially when you're messing with somebody else's business. That is a little petty, but I do love the loyalty. I love that. Like, yes, loyalty. I'm big on loyalty, so I kind of dig that. I kind of like that.
Soapbox Nation, I want y'all to leave a bunch of evil emoji, purple emoji under Jess's twerk videos. I want y'all to flood her right now with a bunch of evil emojis. Since she likes it so much, I just want y'all to just thumbs down. Every time she posts a twerk video, just be like, thumbs down.
That is not loyalty. That is not loyalty, CJ.
Put a poop emoji every time she twerks so that she's like, she'll never do it again, and see if she likes that same energy. Because she loves it so much.
Listen, what I'm saying is that I don't think it's right that you're like, you're knocking somebody's business. Like, I don't think that's right that you're messing up somebody's business. Of course not. But I like the loyalty to somebody that you love, just in general. Like, I like that concept of loyalty and being loyal to someone you love, period. That's all I'm saying. Damn, TJ, talking about put poop emojis under my shit. Why you being a hater? Don't do that.
So, because Jesse has these stances, and then after she records and she sees herself, she's like, you know what? Maybe that was a little fun.
Whatever. Anyways,
take us to the next one, Jesse.
Yes. We're gonna move on. We're gonna talk about Britney Spears. First of all, I love me some Britney. Let me tell you something. This is the definition of you can be going through so much, and you still don't want people to know about it, so you try everything to mask it. And even though like people could, like a lot of people, like I could see that there was something wrong with her, but a lot of people couldn't see it. And even though she kept saying, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, it was obvious that she was not fine. You know what I'm saying? So are you guys familiar with her story?
I've heard what's going on with her, but please, if you could elaborate.
Okay, so she's in what's called and I don't want to pronounce it wrong.
Is it conservatory?
Thank you. Yes. So she's in that with her dad. So what happened was after her divorce with, I believe his name is Kevin Fairline, a few years ago, she was put under this with her dad, and he basically has access to all her bank accounts. He basically owns her life. Medications that she's taking, such as lithium, she's being forced to take it against her will. She wants to have a baby, but she's being forced to use an IUD against her will. She wants to have a baby. And these are all things that she cannot do because of this. And she recently had a court hearing where she spoke up for herself, and she basically stated everything that was happening, and she wants to be free. She wants to be free of this contract. She wants to be free of her dad. She wants to be able to have a baby. She wants to be able to get off this medication that she is using against her will and all of that. And she's basically said, she made a statement in court that said, I've lied and told the whole world I'm okay and I'm happy. But I said, if I said that enough, maybe I'd become happy. I'm in shock. I'm traumatized. I'm so angry. It's insane. I have an IUD in my body right now that won't let me have a baby. And my conservators won't let me go to the doctors to take it out. I want to be able to get married and have a baby, which she cannot do. So right now it's free Brittany, bitch. And I'm team Brittany all the way. And even though she was really brave to make this statement in court, it can still be a very long process. If she's even able to be released of this, it can be a very long process. So my thoughts and prayers are with Brittany. I don't know if you guys want to add anything to that, but yeah, it's free Brittany until she's free.
I actually don't have too much to say. I think you did an excellent job presenting that story and making that case. When I heard about the whole like IUD thing and preventing her from, pregnancy and all those different, like I was totally against that. So you're literally controlling another human being, like the poster or the image said, I'm not a slave for you. Yeah, that sounds like we talk about bad company. That sounds real, and we talk about things being weird. That's weird as hell. I'm a firm believer in people have a free will to do what they want and to basically live their life. They're the architect of their own destiny and able to make their own decisions. Yes, you want to help your family, and let's think about good intent, but to go that extreme where the government or a judge has to order these things, where you basically have full control over a person or a human being, that's a slippery slope that makes me uncomfortable, especially when it comes to women. I'm hoping that she gets a favorable ruling and she gets out of this thing so that she can actually, like, you can't conceive a child because a judge told you not to.
Right.
That's crazy.
Right.
Alan, go ahead, man.
Yeah, I mean, like everyone else, I think the UDI thing was like, pardon me, I'm probably mixing that up. IUD thing.
IUD.
Yeah, IUD thing.
What did I say? Did I say it wrong?
No, I said it wrong.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the IUD thing was the one that kind of really struck for me. Controlling someone's finances, medication because you're trying to do what's best for them, quote unquote. I understand, but things like birth control can literally change like the makeup of your hormones and what your mood swings are and how you just feel as a human on a day-to-day basis, like biologically. So I think that's very dangerous. I was watching I believe it was 2020, who came out with a documentary in regards to this a couple of months ago, which I'm assuming is where all of this momentum is coming from, because I know a lot of people talked about it, and essentially it was like kind of a snowball effect. Like almost we're at like 2 decades when she was bald and she was like hit in the car, and like people still like reference that quote unquote Brittany 2008, I think it was, meltdown or whatever. Yeah. So essentially that was the catapult to where this conservatory started, from my understanding. And it's like, and she had kids at the time, and And, I don't doubt that. Well, I can't necessarily say I don't doubt, but, it seems from the outside looking in that maybe at that time she definitely needed some sort of help. She definitely needed some sort of guidance. And maybe she did need to kind of like, have someone come in and steer things a little bit better for her. But, here we are. Like I said, we're here 20 years later. I don't know what her day-to-day is. I don't know what her mental state is, but there has to be some sort of course of redemption for people who are initially put on that plan. Like there has to be some sort of way that could be, whether it be therapy or any sort of physical test that has gone on, or concrete evidence within the last 20 years that should have freed her from this. So, I'm definitely praying for her, and like everyone's saying, it's like no one really should be in that situation. A grown adult, essentially, with being confined and treated like a kid, if they're able to, prove that they are capable. And if you can trot her in Vegas for a couple nights a week, every day for however many long, and make X amount of dollars, and she has to go to rehearsal and remember all of these lines and be cognizant enough for that, then why wouldn't she be cognizant enough for the rest of that stuff? She's not a robot. She's not she's just not a performance kitten. So hopefully Brittany gets better soon for real.
Yep, 100%. And with that said, like everybody goes through their own thing, and like with her and with other celebrities, you're constantly in the spotlight, especially when you're an A-list celebrity. You got paparazzi following you all the time. Like you're really not by yourself. So to be in the spotlight and have a mental breakdown like that, especially going through a breakup, that shit's not easy. And everybody deals with their own things their own way. You know what I'm saying? So that was how she dealt with it. She was going through her thing. But for you to put her in this situation where she has no control of her life, that's wrong. 100%.
Absolutely.
That's wrong. But yes, let's change gears. But I just do want to say my prayers again are out to Britney Spears. Free Britney. I grew up dancing to Britney, okay? I had a dance routine and everything. I used to perform in front of my family members. I love me some Britney Spears. So yes, until they've been saying something. It's gonna be free Britney until Britney is free. But moving on.
Could Britney Spears sing or sang?
Shut the hell up, TJ. Moving on, okay? We gonna do our last topic, and we talk about keep or cancel, okay? We gonna talk about subways, all right? So I don't know if you guys have heard about this story circulating regarding subways, but there was recently some DNA tests on their tuna, and let me just say, somebody got to call Maury, okay? Because somebody got to call Maury, because the DNA test has determined that tuna is not the father. And what I mean by that is they did some tests on the tuna, and it was determined that the tuna is not tuna. So either it's overly processed, like to the extent that it cannot even be identified, or it's not tuna. So now we're talking about what the freak are y'all eating? What are we eating? And I think there was some study before, in regards to their bread. And I don't remember what that is, so I won't touch too much on that. But the fact and the reality is, if y'all eating tuna subs, y'all not eating tuna subs at Subways. So are we going to keep or cancel Subways? And before I even let y'all tell me, TJ, I want to take it to you because I know that you used to work for Subways. So let me ask you something. Did you know this? Did you know this?
Listen, I'm just going to share my experience at Subway. Subway was actually my first job. The first job I ever had was working at Subway, and I worked at a Subway in the mall, which is actually dope because at the end of the night, the manager that I had allowed us to make all the sandwiches, and the girlfriend I had at the time, I would just make sandwiches for our whole family. So, Subway was good to me until they subsequently fired me because my boss was a jerk because I wouldn't cover his shift. So that's another story for another podcast or whatever. But yo, Subway, when I worked there, right? And this is just my experience of when I worked at this Subway, right? Not all Subways in general, but you know, wink, 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 wink. Subway is notorious. I don't eat at Subway no more because Subway is notorious for taking those labels that say, "Oh, fresh vegetables" or whatever, and taking the label off and then putting a new label on. So you're supposed to get rid of the vegetables, like they're not supposed to stay overnight, right? But as long as the color is good, they will change. In my experience, they change the labels of the expiration dates and stuff like that. So yeah, you gotta watch. I'm not surprised by the whole tuna thing. I know Soapboxx Nation, Sean McCoy said, I saw a scientist come out and say that the reason is because tuna DNA doesn't show up when cooked. That's why you can't see it. It's DNA now. Well, I don't eat seafood, right? Because I am deathly allergic. It's one of my kryptonites. So yeah, I don't eat tuna. That's the last thing I would do. If you want to get tuna, I don't like why would you eat tuna out of a can? I never understood that. And I never understood why people would go to a Subway and eat a tuna sandwich anyway. So I'm gonna say cancel. Like after the whole Jared scandal and his alleged pedophilia or whatever, yeah. And after they fired me unceremoniously, I said yes. And this is when I was 16 years old. So yes, that's how petty I am. I hold a grudge. I say cancel Subway. Too many carbs. Y'all don't need it anyway. Cancel it. What say you, Alan?
Well, what happened was that in regards to the bread, the Irish court ruled that the bread had so much sugar it shouldn't be categorized as bread. And I do actually find that pretty much everyone overseas, when they figure out what we're eating in the U.S., they're like, how the fuck are y'all still alive? And why are your portions so big? And why is the sugar so high? And why is there so much syrup in there? So I'm not necessarily surprised by that. In regards to the tuna, I am a former tuna aficionado, but I'm also very stubborn in my ways. Like, I'm not one of those people where you can be like, yo, this General Toso is not chicken, it's rat. I'm going to be like, well, it's delicious rat. However,
what the hell?
Because a part of me does feel like everything that is.
But I do remember that blue juice and tuna.
Blue juice and tuna.
Hard times. We
a little Dobo would get the party right.
Can stand up, right?
407. But in regards to like the tuna, listen, I feel like everything here on Earth eventually is going to be either a shit out or both. So whatever. But I will say that it is very disgusting that they are, switching stickers on vegetables. I think that's a little bit more concerning. But at the same time, if you're getting your vegetables from Subway, then you're a rebel, and we appreciate you because we need the antibodies. I am going to cancel this because I am a newly found health conscious person. So
I will say this: I am going to keep them. Really? And let me tell you why. Because the way I see it, when you eat out any fast food restaurant, you're taking a risk. You're taking a risk because you've heard all the negative things that people who have worked there have to say about it. Taco Bell has talked shit about their meats and how they make their tacos. McDonald's has talked shit about their freaking chicken nuggets. I've eaten at Burger King and their chicken sandwiches taste like raw chicken, okay? Rubber chicken, fake chicken, like I'm eating a toy, okay? So you know the facts and you still continue to eat them. So it's kind of, like it's on you. It's on you. So it comes down to, and like Alan said, if you're eating rat and you're eating rat, but it tastes bomb, you're going to continue to eat it. So that.
What are we saying here?
They did. What I'm saying is that they did a DNA test, right? And they said that the tuna might not be tuna. Now, if you continue to eat there, even after having this information, then it's on you because it's been disclosed. So, once in a while, I go to Subways. I don't get tuna because I don't really fuck with tuna like that. Yeah. But I get like a club sandwich with it comes like ham, pepperoni, cheese, and all that. I don't get the chicken. I don't fuck with chicken from Subways. I don't mess with the lobster from McDonald's when they have their lobster rolls. You know, that's my decision. People do. That's gross. But I don't. There's certain things that I will eat at certain establishments, and there's certain things that I won't eat. Wow, that was some bomb-ass music, whoever was playing that. But what I'm going to say is that I'm going to keep them because it's been disclosed. And if you're still able to run your establishment, even with that information being disclosed, then hey, power to you. You know what you're doing. That's all I'm saying.
Listen, I just want Soapbox Nation to hear something, okay? Alan and Jesse, both Alan and Jesse gave you their reasons. One said cancel, one said keep. All right?
You said cancel.
But nobody said, I'm going to cancel this shit because they fired TJ. Nobody said that. So when we talk about loyalty, you just see what happens on this show and talk about, I don't have a Bob. I got you, Soapbox Nation, and that's all I need. Because clearly my co-hosts don't give a fuck about me. They're like, yo, they fired TJ. But when Alan had that when he gave his story about Wells Fargo a couple episodes again, what did I do? I took my money out of that bank and said, you know what? You messed with my homeboy. I'm out of here. All right. But I say I get fired from Subway. And Alan's like, well, you know.
I feel like
Jesse said, no, y'all gonna give me the floor right here because I'm betting. And Jesse said, you know what? I'm gonna keep them. Y'all already know where's the loyalty. I just wanted to point out the double standard, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. Soapbox Nation. I ride with y'all. These co-hosts here are something else. I
apologize, TJ. I'm gonna cancel Subways. I'm gonna cancel Subways because of my loyalty to TJ and the Soapbox Podcast. I retract my statement. Fuck Subways. We canceling y'all. Now moving on. We're gonna talk local news. Let's get it, TJ. What we got?
Listen, I just wanted to big up. You guys know Soapbox Podcast. We are. Basically, I live in Orlando, Florida. We have all of us actually have Orlando, Florida roots, right? But here in Orlando's in Orange County, Florida. I just want to talk about there was an ordinance that was trying to be proposed in Orange County government, right? And that ordinance was basically an anti-protest ordinance trying to be passed. So that people within the I don't even know if that's how you spell ordinance. I just want to make sure. But anyway, all across the country, when we have these officers who kill unarmed Black people, right? Social justice activists are actually wising up. So instead of marching in the streets, we're like, wait, we're not going to march in the streets. If we got this cop and he's right there, or the judge, or the chief of police, and all these people, we're now pulling up. We talked about that last week about pull-up summer. People are now pulling up to the homes of these people who are doing wrong in the community, because people have a right to actually protest. Well, here in Orange County, we had our sheriff, John Mina, and our mayor, Jerry Demings. They were proposing an ordinance in Orange County that would make it basically a violation if you protested in someone's a residential area 150 feet. So last summer, myself and other activists led protests to Derek Chauvin's house. Derek Chauvin being the officer the race soldier who murdered George Floyd by kneeling on his neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds, right? And so he had a vacation home in, I want to say not Winter Garden. I believe it's Windermere, Florida. And so we led protests there. Well, now they're trying to make those actions, I wouldn't say illegal, violation of an ordinance. So I just wanted to mention that the fact that this was proposed by the sheriff, John Mina, who's been anti-community voices, anti-protest, what really Black Lives Matter is, how he tries to mask himself as an ally. He really isn't, right? And Jerry Demings, who, I've been on the Citizen Review Board with Jerry Demings, Task Force for Gun Violence. And so for Jerry Demings to listen to John Mina, to influence him to try to push this ordinance, it's very telling about the influence that law enforcement still has on our local governments. So I wanted to mention that because the ordinance actually failed, because the community in Orange County, band together, activists. We had people from the DEC. We had local activists like Lawana Gelzer. We had former candidate for sheriff Andrew Darling. We had other corporate activists in their efforts as well to shoot down this ordinance, and our commissioners. We have Emily Bonilla. Also, Commissioner Siplin had questions. We had other Commissioner Wilson had questions about why was this ordinance even necessary? And all this ordinance really was trying to do was to silence the voices of people who are protesting, and to basically for government to say, well, this is where you can protest, and have designated areas for civil unrest and protesting against injustice. And so I'm glad that the ordinance was withdrawn, because Jerry Demings, Mayor Demings, withdrew the ordinance, and he's been on the show before. He withdrew the ordinance because he knew he didn't have the votes and it was going to get shot down. So I just wanted to give a brief, quick local news update and a shout out to Orange County banding together and shooting down in the name of our First Amendment rights and our right to protest. So shout out to that. So we are seeing these things pop up all across the country, and so we literally developed the blueprint as to how to shoot these ordinances down. So that's what I just wanted to mention.
Thank you for sharing that, TJ. We appreciate that. You see, it's always good to know local news. You know, I was actually in Orlando a few weeks ago, and I actually walked into a supermarket, and outside there were people protesting, and I just felt like I should mention that because you are talking about protesting. And they were protesting about cable or internet, and how, I don't know if you know this because you do live in Orlando, how people are being forced to have certain cable services or internet services without their consent. So I don't know if you know anything about that, but I did sign, you know, they have like a form for it. I just signed for it. So I'm always with people who are standing up for people's rights. So I don't know if you know anything about that, if you want to talk about that briefly. If not, it's cool. But yeah, that's good that he definitely withdrew that.
Well, when it comes to that, we're seeing a lot of complexes. They are developing contracts with service providers. I remember when I was in Tallahassee, Florida, we could only do Comcast. And so there are other, like I think in North Florida, some areas you can only do the cable provider, which is Cox Media, right? And so then we have you have Spectrum, right, where everybody hated Spectrum because Spectrum, Bright House turned into Spectrum, and then all shit went haywire. So yeah, we're seeing that, but that's giving away people's like that, and that's how they treat. That's an economic thing, because that's how they treat people who are low income. And when you're a renter, you don't necessarily have the same rights as someone who owns a home. So you can't have, yes, that's my home, that's where I live, but you can't have a satellite. You can't have certain things and amenities that you yourself want to have in order for you to feel more comfortable, which you should have the right to do. So they're contracting out. And so people are right to protest. And anytime your rights are being violated, or you feel like something is sketchy, or you want to speak out, you have a right to speak out about mistreatment or things that you have. And the whole purpose of protesting is to disrupt the social norm and this order. So it defeats the purpose when you have to sign permits, when you have to ask the government, who 9 times out of 10 is doing the thing that you're trying to protest. You want to ask them permission in order for your voice to be heard, and you want to protest injustice. Even when it comes to law enforcement, we got to ask the law enforcement officers to escort us in the community in order for us to protest their injustice and harboring race soldiers within their departments. I don't like none of that. So I'm glad that this ordinance, Orlando of itself, has this type of residential ordinance, but I'm glad that it was withdrawn in Orange County. But I will want to make this last point. We got to be steadfast, people in Orange County, to make sure that, because it was withdrawn, it was not voted down because the mayor saw he didn't have the votes and he pulled it before it was actually voted down. So this thing can come up again. So this summer, please be on alert for those who are protesting, for officers or sheriff's deputies trying to provoke incidents in residential areas if you have to protest this summer. And the reason I say this is because every summer unfortunately there's an unarmed black man or black woman that is shot. I know in Orange County, we're still waiting to hear whether or not our state attorney is going to charge the officer who shot Salacious Melvin in the back, who was a kid who was running away at the mall. He was not the person that they were trying to go after, but officer shot him in the back anyway, and he was unarmed. So be on alert. We saw this a lot with the Black Lives Matter protests, where we had people consider, whether it's Antifa or you had other right-wing extremist group posing in the actual midst of the protest, trying to provoke situations to make and criminalize everybody as if they're violent. So please be on alert and make sure if you're protesting, you're doing it the right way, and you're trying to have a message that is conducive to your movement, and not just out there trying to destroy or whatever. Like, make sure you're on point, because they're looking for a reason. Now they're going to look for a case study so that they can bring this type of anti-protest policy into Orange County, which we already have HB1, which we discussed on the show, which is a Florida statute, which is also an anti-protest bill that was passed into law by Governor Ron DeSantis. So these are just things we got to be vigilant in educating ourselves and being aware of what our government is actually doing. And sometimes what they're doing, instead of fixing the problems within the department, they are trying to suppress our rights and our voice in order to speak out against the mistreatment and injustice, marginalized community, whether you're Latino, Latinx, whether you are LGBTQ, whether you are Black, whether you're brown, Asian, whatever, you should have the right to protest and have your voice be heard. So thank you for letting me do that. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for sharing that with us, TJ. Definitely appreciate that. And like, speaking of protests, around the world, there has been a lot of protests in the past, even now, especially with the injustice that goes on every day with Black African Americans. So let's switch gears. Let's talk a little bit about Sounds About White. We're gonna talk about Rudy Giuliani, mayor.
Yo, I'm about to have a panic attack.
Because education in this country is about white is right, brown's all right, black.
This is our country.
I love that. All right, Alan, what you got for us? You on mute, brother?
You're on mute. First day, Alan.
I told you I had to shield y'all from all of the surrounding noises that come from living in this city. Rudy G and Sounds About White. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Rudy G, otherwise known as Rudy Giuliani, has had his law license suspended, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, he has had his law license suspended. The ruling from the court said that there was uncontroverted evidence Giuliani made false statements while he was acting as legal counsel for former President Donald Trump. Now, the ruling also states these false statements were made to improperly bolster respondents' narrative that due to widespread voter fraud, victory at the 2020 United States presidential election was stolen from his client. So essentially all of that it was stolen talk and pretty much insinuating that it wasn't a fair election came to bite Rudy Giuliani in the ass because it was ironically fake news. So obviously his nephew and all of his supporters are saying that this is just suppression and it's because he is a fan of Trump and they're just trying to shut him up. But buddy, you just don't know what you're doing, and now you can no longer practice law. So shout out to
Daniel.
I don't feel bad at all. You got to watch the company you keep, Rudy G. You got some bad company, my dude.
Period. Nope. Yeah. You got what's coming to you. I ain't got nothing to say about that.
Grand opening, grand closing. Sorry for you.
Yeah, no sympathy from us. Sorry for you.
I'm glad we could all bond on that topic. Like, we don't give a fuck. We don't give a We need a drop that says that we in harmony. We don't give a fuck.
And mind you, I can't sing, but I'll do it.
Oh yeah, Jesse. You can sing, but you can't sing.
Definitely not. I ain't Beyonce.
All right, what we got next, Just say.
We got moral of the story. That's
Oh,
what we got.
already, we out.
Yes,
Oh.
we had a good show. Everybody had, we had a lot of good topics today. I do want you guys to keep in mind that we got some really good shows coming up. Next week, we got the girls panel, y'all. It's going to be all ladies, okay? And we're going to be talking about these men and the shit that they be doing. We're going to have a panel of bomb-ass women. We want y'all to tune in. We want y'all to comment. Look out for Instagram because we will be posting polls on there in which we want you guys to respond. Give us your feedback. We want to hear your answers because we will discuss it on the show. I'm telling you guys, next week is one of those shows that you do not want to miss because we are going to be talking about these men and the bullshit that they do or the good shit that they do because, not everybody is the same. But we will be talking about that next week, all women show. Like I said, men, we want y'all to tune in. We want y'all to comment. We want y'all to tune into the polls and answer because, a lot of people have been tuning in and responding to some questions that I've had personally. And yeah, it's like I said, it's going to be a bomb-ass show. And again, if you're tuning in for the first time, you're watching us for the first time, please catch us on all platforms. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Spotify, we're on iHeartRadio, we're on Stitchers. I don't know if I said Instagram, but I'm saying Instagram again. And we're right here on Facebook. Okay, so tune in, keep watching us. We love y'all. We appreciate the support that you guys have been giving us. So continue watching us. We're only going to get better. And with your support, we can only excel, all right? So we're going to jump to moral of the story. And you know something? I'm going to go last. So we're going to jump to my boy, Alan, homeless millionaire, New York, stand up. What's your moral of the story, my boy?
Man, the moral of the story for tonight is, and this is something that I just seen on my Instagram. Seen on my Instagram this week, as well as kind of has something to do with the Brittany thing. You have to understand that you are not your mistakes. Your mistakes are an action. It's a fleeting action. As long as you don't continue in that path, then you are not that mistake. You are not that moment. Nobody is a moment. We are all a totality. So just make sure you remember that. Continue to be better. Continue to strive to be better. Wake up every morning and figure out what you're going to do to improve yourself. Because at the end of the day, you are not your mistakes. You're much more than that. And you just have to make sure you're acting on being your best self.
Word.
I love that. I'm going to tweet that, Alan. All right? I'm just letting you know right now. I'm going to tweet that.
Tag him.
TJ,
Tag him.
What you got, TJ?
Excuse me. I'm not last. Okay.
You want me to go last?
No, you're good. Listen, moral of the story. First of all, I just want to say, let me go ahead and give the full screen. Let's give Jesse a round of applause because she's doing the point guard thing. There's a difference between a point guard and a point guard. She's doing her thing today. So appreciate you, Jesse. Listen, my moral of the story is this. Watch your words because words are real and the words have power. And you can also make sure that you're manifesting things that you want in your life, but also watch the company that you keep, right? And that's whether it's in business or whether it's in your associations in your personal life. You always want to make sure you watch the company that you keep because the people you surround yourself is pretty much a clear indicator of where you're going. As you can see, I surround myself with the best people, top-notch people. We don't always agree, but they are some of the best people that I could possibly be around, and they help elevate me. So my charge to everybody is to make sure that you, one, are watching your words because words are powerful. You are also focusing on your self-care, but also make sure that when you are trying to do stuff, what was I going to say? I'm sorry, I've been drinking. You need to, I'm losing a word. Oh my God, I just drew a blank. Oh my goodness, I just drew a blank. You need to watch the company you keep. There, boom, I said it. Boom. There you go, Jesse.
I love it, TJ. You good. It happens to the best of us. And I wrote down what you said. Watch your words. Have power watch your words because your words have power, and watch the company that you keep because I'm going to tweet that too. So I just wanted to let you know that I was writing that down. Okay. But okay, now, first of all, let me just say again, thank you, Soapboxx Nation. We love y'all so much. And I'm going to end by saying the moral of the story for me is don't be a liar. Don't be a liar because your lies have consequences. Now, if you're looking at the stories that we talked about today, Subways, you a liar because your tuna is not tuna. Ronnie, you a scumbag, you a liar. And you over there trying to plead your case with so much passion, you a liar. And that's why you got what you got. Mayor Rudy Giuliani, you lost your law license or it got suspended because you a liar. And Trick Daddy, you know Beyonce can sang. And that's why the BeyHive swarming you and messing up shit for you because you a liar. You know that she could sing. But, you know, to each its own. So, I mean, I guess Trick gets a little pass. But what I will say, the moral of the story is don't be a liar because your lies will catch up to you eventually and they have consequences. And that's all I got to say about that. Okay?
Word.
Yes.
Word. Mic drop, Jess. Hey, look. Next week, the fellas ain't gonna be here. It's all ladies. Y'all already know they're doing the beauty shop. Shout out to Jesse one more time, who did an excellent job. Shout out to the dress. Alan, of course, my man. I see you, bro.
It's
hey,
me.
Jesse, you got to do the last thing. You got to throw it out you got to do this for
all right.
Go ahead.
So for TJ Legacy Cole on vacation, doing his thing, having his drink. For homeless millionaire with the fitted cap, doing his thing, about to go to work because you know he's trying to get that bag. For Jay in Jamaica, living her best life. That's real life goals. And for me, you already know what time it is. I love me a loyal nigga. You know what I'm saying? That's the Soapboxx Nation. We out. See you next week. Peace.
Anything. Tell them what we talking about. Anything. Tell them what we talking about.